Hallmark 1, the Curriculum Audit and Alignment Project, was completed at Brunswick County Academy with an 8th grade math class. The middle school program at BCA serves students who are no longer eligible to attend their traditional school. Most of these students have been long-term suspended or are in the process of transitioning back to their home school from a behavior treatment facility. The classroom consisted of 8th grade students with one highly qualified teacher. Some of the strengths that I did discover throughout this project was the students and teachers at BCA had ample technology, with every student having their own laptop. The school is a one-to-one initiative. There was also an iPad, smartboard, desktop computer in the classroom. Teachers had the ability to choose their own instructional resources. This was one that I was pretty surprised to learn about. The school had a SIG ramp, and the administration really allowed the teachers to select instructional materials and resources that were best fit for their classroom, something that most teachers would love to have. And also, the county's curriculum guide correlates appropriately to the North Carolina 8th grade Common Core math standards. This was one that I thought was sufficient. I thought their guide, included all the information needed to cover the standards. And next, we'll talk about the sequencing just a little bit. The instructional sequence of the classroom should be adjusted to better fit the minds of 21st century learners. A lot of direct instruction going on for extended periods of time, 30 minutes at a time. Students were engaged, but I don't know how much they were learning. The one adjustment to the pacing guide, and not the curriculum guide, is the pacing guide. I would move geometry to the end of the second semester. 8th grade math had a lot to do with equations and number sense, with geometry kind of just being thrown in there. There wasn't a lot of scaffolding going off of it. And so I thought by moving geometry to around the Thanksgiving to Christmas mark, it would kind of change the pace up for students, because the way it's set up now is from roughly November 1st or middle of October to the end of the year. They're doing numbers and equations now. It may be linear equations, two-step equations, Pythagorean theorem, but they're all equations. And so by moving the geometry piece, the geometry standards, to the middle of the year, I think it would kind of break up the monotony of the class and keep the students engaged during that difficult time of the year. Also about this project, this was one of the more difficult projects that I've had to do in my graduate school. It was so tough to differentiate from the instruction piece and focusing on how the students were being instructed to the actual curriculum piece. And being able to separate those two was definitely difficult. I kept wanting to focus on the instructional practices. But all in all, if I had to do it over again, definitely would be some changes by analyzing the curriculum first and then actually going into a classroom and looking at it. There was definitely some changes that needed to be made. And the last change that I think that really needs to happen, and this is across the board, would be some supplemental instructional materials for the teacher. There was Study Island was the only supplemental, but that turned out not to be exactly accurate in the assessing students as far as using the comparable data to the North Carolina 8th grade EOG or their unit tests given. So getting some supplemental resources, some assessments that can produce valid data, was one of the weaker areas that I did see. But all in all, it was definitely a good project and learned a lot doing it.